My mother called me poor white trash at my own wedding rehearsal. 3 years later, she showed up uninvited to my housewarming party and fainted when she saw who was standing in my kitchen. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, where my mother Patricia was the self-appointed queen of our social circle. Country club memberships, charity galas, the whole performance. My older sister Victoria married Brandon, a corporate lawyer, in a wedding that cost $140,000. 400 guests, string quartet, Vera Wang dress. My parents took out a second mortgage they're still drowning in. When I got engaged to Jake, a high school special education teacher making $42,000 a year, my mother pulled me aside at the announcement dinner and said, "Please tell me you're not serious about marrying the help." I told her I loved him. She looked me up and down and said, "Love doesn't pay for the lifestyle you're accustomed to, Sarah, but I suppose we all have to learn the hard way." When Jake and I decided on a small backyard wedding at our rental house in Clintonville, my mother called it exactly what it was: a rebellion. "A backyard wedding?" she shrieked over the phone. "What's next? Paper plates and a keg? I will not watch my daughter become poor white trash just to prove some point about true love." I hung up. She texted the family group chat. "Sarah has decided to embarrass this family with a budget ceremony that reflects poorly on all of us. I cannot in good conscience attend, and I hope you'll all respect my position." One by one, they all fell in line. Victoria, Dad, aunts, uncles, cousins who I'd grown up with. 47 family members received invitations. 0 came. My wedding day was perfect in every way except one. The June sun filtered through our backyard oak trees. 40 friends filled mismatched chairs we'd borrowed. Jake's mother walked me down the aisle crying happy tears, stepping in where my own father refused to show. But I couldn't stop glancing at the driveway, some pathetic part of me still hoping to see my mother's Mercedes pull up. During the reception, my phone buzzed. A text from Victoria sent from a champagne brunch she was attending instead. "Hope your little party is nice. Some of us have actual social obligations," with a photo of her mimosa. I excused myself to the bathroom and cried for 10 minutes while my new mother-in-law held me. "They're lost, sweetheart," she whispered. "You just married the best man I know." She was right, but it didn't stop the pain. Jake had been working on something in secret for 3 years, every evening after teaching, every summer break. An educational app for kids with learning disabilities, born from watching his students struggle with traditional methods. I believed in it when it was just sketches in notebooks. I believed in it when he maxed out a credit card for developer help. I believed in it when my mother said, "Oh, another app. How original. Wake me when he invents the next Facebook." 18 months after our wedding, Microsoft called. They wanted to acquire Jake's app. The number they quoted made my vision blur. $12 million. We sat in our tiny kitchen with its peeling linoleum and dishes in the sink, staring at the offer letter. Jake's voice cracked when he said, "We could buy your parents' house 10 times over." But we didn't want revenge, we just wanted peace. We bought a $6 million estate in Upper Arlington, the kind of neighborhood where my mother had always pretended she belonged but couldn't afford. 6 bedrooms, pool, guest house, chef's kitchen bigger than our entire rental. We stayed quiet about it, didn't post on social media, didn't announce anything. We just wanted to live our lives. But we decided to throw a housewarming party, invite the people who'd actually shown up for us. Jake's family, our real friends. The Thursday before the party, I was at Whole Foods in Upper Arlington when I ran into my mother's best friend, Carol Henderson. She saw my cart, saw my designer handbag that Jake had surprised me with, and her eyes went wide. "Sarah, oh my God, what are you doing in this neighborhood?" I smiled. "I live here now. Actually, I'm having a housewarming party Saturday. You should come." I wrote my new address on her grocery receipt. The look on her face was worth everything. I knew exactly what would happen. Carol would call my mother within 5 minutes, and I was right. My phone rang before I got to my car. "Mom." I let it go to voicemail. She called 16 times that evening. The voicemail she left was a masterpiece. "Sarah, honey, Carol said the most ridiculous thing about you living in Upper Arlington. Obviously, there's been some confusion. Call me back immediately. We need to discuss some things. Important family things." I texted back one line. "No confusion. See you Saturday if you'd like. The party starts at 6. I didn't send an invitation, didn't give her permission, just left the door open just enough to watch her squirm. Saturday arrived. Our house looked like something from Architectural Digest. Catered food, bartender, string lights over the pool. Jake's parents arrived first, as always, bringing homemade pierogi and tears of pride. The party was in full swing when the doorbell rang at 7:15. I opened it to find my mother, father, and Victoria standing there in designer outfits I knew they'd bought specifically for this moment. My mother's face was perfectly made up, her smile tight and rehearsed. "Surprise!" she chirped, pushing past me into the foyer. "We couldn't miss our daughter's housewarming. Sarah, this house is absolutely stunning. You should have told us you were doing so well." My father wouldn't meet my eyes. Victoria was already taking selfies in front of our chandelier. My mother grabbed my arm, lowering her voice. "Sweetheart, we need to talk privately. Your father's business is struggling, and with your new resources we thought—" "Thought what?" I asked loudly enough that nearby guests turned. "That you could show up after 3 years and ask for money?" Her eyes flashed. "Don't be dramatic. Family helps family." "Family shows up to weddings," I said. Before she could respond, Jake appeared at my side with someone I'd been waiting to introduce. "Sarah, there you are. Patricia, nice to see you again." My mother's smile was venomous. "Jacob, quite the come-up for a public school teacher." "Actually," Jake said, not taking the bait, "I wanted you to meet someone. This is Marcus Reynolds." The man next to Jake extended his hand. He was mid-50s, black, wearing a casual but expensive suit. My mother shook it reflexively, confused. "Marcus is the reason we could afford this house," Jake continued. "He's the CEO of the company that acquired my app. But more importantly, Marcus, this is Sarah's mother, Patricia Mitchell. Patricia, Marcus grew up in Clintonville, same neighborhood where we got married. His parents still live 3 houses down from where we had our wedding." The color drained from my mother's face as Marcus smiled warmly. "Oh yes, I remember that day. Beautiful ceremony. I was visiting my parents that weekend and they were invited. The Johnsons? They're friends with Sarah and Jake. I actually stopped by for a bit. The homemade decorations, the joy, it reminded me of my own wedding 30 years ago when I had nothing." He looked at my mother. "We didn't have money for a venue either, so we got married in my parents' backyard in Clintonville. Best day of my life." My mother's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Marcus continued, oblivious or perhaps perfectly aware. "When Jake pitched his app to me, the first thing I noticed was his character. He told me about his wife who believed in him when he was just a teacher with a dream, who married him in her backyard because love mattered more than appearances. That's the kind of person I invest in." Victoria had stopped taking selfies. My father stared at his shoes. My mother's carefully constructed facade cracked in real time. "I should mention," I said quietly, "that Marcus and his wife Janet just donated $5 million to build a new special education wing at Jake's school. It's being announced next week. Janet's on the board of the country club you've been trying to get into for 15 years, Mom. Small world." My mother actually stumbled backward. Carol Henderson, who'd arrived fashionably late, had heard everything. By Monday morning, it would be all over their social circle. The woman who called her daughter's backyard wedding poor white trash had snubbed the ceremony that a tech CEO attended. The daughter she'd abandoned was now neighbors with the very people she'd been desperately trying to impress. My mother tried to speak, but I cut her off. "You taught me that love doesn't pay for the lifestyle I'm accustomed to. You were wrong. Love paid for everything. Now get out of my house." They left without another word. I never heard from them again, though I heard through Carol that my mother resigned from every social committee she was on, couldn't face the whispers. Victoria and Brandon divorced 8 months later when his firm collapsed. My father sent one email. "You've become cruel." I didn't respond. Jake and I are expecting twin girls in December. Marcus and Janet are their godparents. Sometimes cruelty is just consequences wearing their Sunday best. What would you do in this situation?